Hi everybody, it's Tripl-L and here I am to chat about One Piece chapter 912, The Braided Hat Village. So along with this chapter, I also want to talk about an interview that was translated about Oda, stuff that he was saying for One Piece. You're seeing a still screen right now just because copyright strikes and stuff, and I just want to I want to give them as little as possible. Well, no, I'm just trying to stall for time because I assume that the persons who are striking it aren't actually watching the video. So I kind of just want to see if they're actually going to go through the whole video. Anyway, not the point. The interview first. So Oda gave some new information about One Piece. He said that One Piece is now 80% complete. This is a 10% increase from last year, July 23rd, when he said that One Piece was 70% complete. And for the record, that is around the time of chapter 873. That was around the time that the Straw Hats had just brought down the Whole Cake Island castle and were starting to make their runaway. So that's where we were at for 70%, and now we're at 80% with the start of Wano. Very interesting numbers. The way that it's looking, of just like I didn't do any hard math calculations, but it seems to me that since that time we've completed the Reverie arc, sort of, or the Reverie mini arc. We completed that, and now we're at 80%. I'm wondering if Oda is gauging completion not by chapter number, but rather by arc number, or arc milestones. So given how we've just increased 10% over this last year, I would say that One Piece probably has, if every 5% represents the completion of an arc, I'd say One Piece has between 4 to 6 arcs left. That'd be my broad strokes kind of prediction. Yeah, 4 to 6 arcs, just to give some variance in case Oda decides he wants to make something in the middle. So that's pretty interesting. I'm very interested to know next year where are we with One Piece. If we can't predict the rate. We can't predict the possible rate here. Most likely by next year, this time, we're still gonna be in the Wano arc. Chances are, right? So it'll be interesting to see what percentage we're at that time. Anyway, another bit of news that he released was about Jinbei. People asked him why Jinbei isn't on the color spreads when the Straw Hat Pirates are being presented, and Oda gave a really interesting little bit of information, and he said the reason he hasn't put Jinbei on the color spreads, I think he missed 6 or 8, is because he doesn't want to spoil a surprise about Jinbei's current state since the last time we saw him. So what does that ultimately tell us? Jinbei's alive, Jinbei's still going to be on the crew, and there's a surprise waiting for us. How interesting. Is it a scar? Is it a missing eye? Is it a missing leg? Who knows? I'm really excited to see Jinbei though, so hopefully we'll see him sooner rather than later. Anyway, let's get into chapter 912 now. So 912 gave us a lot of really cool things. It gave us Ace and a backstory, and we were at Braided Hat Village, which is most likely the place where Ace learned how to make hats. The one that he made for Orange Jr. I believe that's like the whole story that was there. Anyway, we had Ace, we had the Tengu, and we had like the whole thing with the sword. I believe it's called Nidai Kitetsu. And then we had the meetup with Zoro. So really, there's a lot of really cool things going on in this chapter, and I have a lot of questions. Like, one of my first questions I want to ask you guys is, what do you think? Do you think the Tengu is a race in of itself, or do you think it's a guy that just has wings on his back, but the wings aren't real, like they're fake? What do you think about the Tengu? Like right now, Kinemon, when he first saw Usopp, thought Usopp was a Tengu, and if that's the case, it really makes me feel like Tengu are much more widespread. So I'm interested to see what actually are Tengu. Are they a long-nosed tribe, or are they actually legitimately people with wings on their back? And that wouldn't be too crazy. What if the Tengu is this variation, or Wano's variation of a Skypian? Like, we've already seen beings with wings, right? So like, I think that's totally reasonable. It could be a race. But that's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing. If we see another Tengu somewhere, it'll confirm it, and I'll be really happy. But yeah, that's super cool. Now, moving away from that, one thing I want to talk about before I forget is on a technical level. This chapter was really fast, and it was really fastly paced. And you can tell that not from the story sequences. You can tell that by looking between the panels, especially at the beginning. there was a really weird thing that happened in the first 3 pages of content for this chapter, and I'm just gonna look through them real quick just to like tell you guys about it. It first started off with the spot where Otama faints because of shock, right? We have that little bit, and then after that we transition into her house with Luffy and the Tengu watching over her, and then on the next page we transition to outside the house without any kind of segue. That was just such a fast transition, and it continued on for a little bit after there. After the Tengu had explained to Luffy like the whole story about that village, all of a sudden Luffy's on top of a tree trunk, and we don't see the transitionary panels for that. And then from there it kind of gets a little bit easier, but that kind of quick scene progression without any like legit segues does indicate, or does help, I think, fast pace. Which is good. I think it's better for One Piece to be at a faster pace, to not waste time with like little like scene transitions, because it like One Piece is at 912 chapters. Like we need to get through this, man. We need to keep going. Now, ultimately with the Tengu, like a lot of really cool things are coming up. People are wondering, like, is this guy gonna make Zoro a new sword? He had one of the cursed swords with him. What named sword does he himself has? He is a descendant of Kotetsu, the man that made the original cursed sword. So this guy is going to be pretty interesting, and I'm pretty excited to see the group meet up with him. I want to see interactions between him, Zoro, and Usopp specifically. Now, the other thing that we're doing in the chapter is that we're trying to get Otama to a doctor. Now that we found Zoro, most likely he can direct Luffy to Chopper, because Chopper could probably fix her up. Now, what I ultimately want to talk about, this chapter also had a lot of comedy, like when Luffy found Zoro and all that. Before that, he thought it was Sanji who was chasing after a woman because he assumed Sanji, right? One thing that I really enjoyed is just how nonchalantly Zoro and Luffy met up, and this indicates to me that they're probably relatively close to the flower capital, right? Anyway, seeing Luffy and Zoro meet up again was really cool, and seeing them stand side by side with Luffy about to pull out a sword is a really cool visual. I am totally into it. Now, I'm wondering what's going to happen next chapter. Is Luffy's luck going to be amazing enough such that Luffy can handle that sword? Or are things going to go crazy when Zoro and Luffy start fighting here? Like, Luffy's just going to start messing up. The worst thing about this chapter is that we have to wait a week before we see the next one. But whatever, you know, we got used to it. I'm pretty excited for this, though. I'm pretty excited to see Luffy and Zoro go at it. And I'm excited to see what Hawkins is going to do. One of the last things I want to add is that it was very funny when Zoro finds out that the food is poison and reacts to it like, oh yeah, that's why my stomach's hurting. But anyway, otherwise, I don't really have much else to say for this chapter. I think it was nicely done. I love the pacing. I love that we're now dealing with Hawkins. I'm glad that this isn't being stretched out. I'm just excited to see the Straw Hat crew come together again. It was really cool to see Luffy and Zoro together. It's going to be so much cooler to see everyone standing together. And I want to see Brook give Robin the poneglyphs. That's going to be amazing. But anyway, guys, that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.